Yo, what's up guys? I'm sure you guys have heard of GPTs, a new feature that OpenAI recently announced that allows you to go through and make custom GPTs where you can put in custom instructions, custom titles, profile pictures, custom actions to external APIs, and more. Today in this video, I'm going to be going over the GPT store and basically making some predictions and trying to basically extrapolate and analyze what GPTs I think will succeed on them in the future. So, let's hop right in. So to quickly explain what the GPT store is, GPT store is basically where people can openly list their GPTs. It was supposed to come out actually previously in the same month, I believe, that GPTs were released, but now it's actually going to be pushed back to 2024, I do believe. But basically the concept is that people can publicly share GPTs, there are different leaderboards that the GPTs can actually climb, it's searchable, and OpenAI said that they would actually have some certain categories where they would feature certain GPTs, such as things like productivity, education, and just like generally just fun GPTs. And they said that there would also be some sort of system where you can actually get paid depending on how many people use your GPT. So there is a huge potential for community created GPTs within a GPT store. I mean, I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm sure this is gonna go beyond my, furthest imagination, beyond the imagination of, Sam, the people who actually created this. Really, I cannot wait to see what you guys make and what is on the GPT store. I mean, there's like unlimited potential as to what people are gonna make, and I think particularly the areas where we're gonna see a lot of innovation is gonna be with integrations. If you can create some sort of GPT that can integrate with different CRMs or other things that are going to be very useful to the small to medium-sized businesses that are going to be using these most. Maybe HubSpot integrations, maybe integrations to, I don't know, specific software that restaurants use, or specific software that other types of small businesses use, where all they would have to do is just potentially just change an API key, or just change authentication information, and then boom, they have a fully functioning GPT that they just got in the store that works with their products, that works with their inventory, that works with their knowledge base. That could be huge. I think that's a huge potential for innovation within the GPT store. I'm now going to analyze these in four main key areas: technology, education, healthcare, and entertainment. So firstly, with technology, these GPTs in the GPT store are basically going to completely change technology companies, because many new companies are probably going to sprout out that just make money off of creating GPTs. Their whole entire business model will be creating popular GPTs, trying to get them featured, trying to get them to climb the GPT leaderboards that are going to be in the GPT store, and making money off of people buying them, right? So these companies could provide useful GPTs that have a lot of utility for things like small businesses or medium-sized businesses that are bought at volume, kind of B2B. But I think there could also be B2C as well, where basically companies are creating GPTs that are kind of more fun and are kind of more useful for the consumer directly rather than useful for a business, where the consumer can basically unlock extra functionality. Maybe it's like, a GPT that talks with like XYZ other platforms. It's like really good for like research, for, writing papers, or maybe, another GPT that's really good for getting some sort of specialized information, maybe about a video game or something like that, where it connects with specific APIs and connects with specific integrations that makes it really convenient to the user. And, if companies price this at pretty low prices, they can probably get a lot of volume, and it could be, very interesting to see what companies sprout out from that. Next field I want to analyze is education. I think GPTs could be used to help the student-teacher ratio by basically giving kind of mini teachers to each student, where if the student is confused and has some basic question, they don't have to take up the teacher's time, and that way they can just ask the GPT that question and the GPT can answer, and maybe, these schools can program in specific voices for those GPTs to have, specific knowledge bases on the curriculum, on what exactly is being taught, on, how much to help the student. Maybe you don't want to give the student the whole answer to the problem, but you just want them to kind of have the first steps to solving it, in the math scenario, for example. That could help. That could save a lot of time for teachers and increase personalization in education, where each student can kind of ask questions, be like, I'm confused about XYZ topic, whatever, please help me. They can actually talk to the GPT like a human. Maybe even if these GPTs get some sort of voice integration, that could also be very interesting. Which I do believe they actually do have right now on the, at least on the phone app, they definitely have voice integration. for the normal chat GPT. So that'll be interesting to see. Next thing is healthcare. I think this could revolutionize healthcare because doctors could now go ahead and start using these that way instead of them texting patients to whatever patient portal whenever symptoms come up to get a faster response and quicker advice without having to waste the doctor's time with basic questions. People can just go ahead and ask this GPT, and the GPT can talk with XYZ instructions from the hospital, can use XYZ knowledge base, know what it can say, what it can't say, what it can help with, what it can't help with in terms of following regulations. And that way, users can get quick answers to their queries, like, oh, I'm taking XYZ medication, I have this side effect, should I be worried, whatever. Of course, following HIPAA compliance and all of that type of stuff. Now, finally, I want to analyze this in the field of entertainment. I think influencers, whatever, and like just people online, like whatever, people who make videos and stuff like that. I think they could use these GPTs to kind of help a lot with audience interaction, right? Because you see, tens of thousands of comments, maybe not tens of thousands, but however many comments there are on YouTube videos where people are kind of just talking into the void, talking to other people. You see many people sometimes, asking questions that are kind of never answered. So if there can be some sort of GPT that maybe users can purchase for a small price, right? So the influencer then makes money off of it. And where they can basically talk to a likeness of the influencer and ask them questions or ask them for advice or just talk to them, In some cases, this could be very useful with people like, for example, Alex Hormozy or something like that, and different influencers where it's like they could give business advice, etc., whereas usually they would have to actually try and comment or something like that, never get the question answered. Here they can actually get some sort of response based off of a specific knowledge base and maybe also programmed in the specific influencer's style of speech and things like that. For example, think about the potential use case of this being used for a college class. Someone could make a GPT that has the textbooks and has XYZ other materials uploaded as PDFs or uploaded just in the knowledge base in whatever form, and also has instructions on how to specifically output quizzes and practice tests and how to help the students study and things like that. Maybe students could buy this off the GPT store for $10 or $15, and then this way, instead of having to use a tutor, they can just use this much more cheaper, easier option where they can learn at their own pace and just talk to this bot. A similar thing could be used maybe in schools where basically a school gives students access to specific GPTs for whatever classes they're in, and then those students can go ahead and access and talk to those GPTs where they can ask questions 24/7. GPT has unlimited patience. GPT will keep explaining stuff over and over again, you guys, and again, right? You can only ask a teacher questions really in their classroom or in office hours. Whereas with this GPT that's like approved by the school, maybe even made by the school, what will happen is the students will basically be able to go through and ask questions at any time and receive a certain quality of response because it's coming from the school. Basically, it's approved by the school. I think another thing where this could be used is in healthcare, actually, which was another area I had, where basically you could have GPTs that are trained maybe on like images, a bunch of images, where in the image it basically says like, okay, this specific part is where the problem is or something like that. Then you could kind of have like a mini radiologist, which I know if there's any doctors watching this, probably like, bro, it's not accurate, what the hell. But no, like you could kind of have it, right, where you can upload like a pic, a doctor could upload a pic and maybe they somewhat trained in this. Maybe they're not a radiologist, but they can at least kind of see what's going on, and the AI can kind of help them out so they can kind of quickly understand, like, oh, okay, based on this, it looks like this could possibly be the issue before they get XYZ test results back that I think could potentially be useful. But again, if you guys are like, bro, what the hell is wrong with you? Whatever regulations won't allow this or whatever, I get that too, like HIPAA compliant and stuff like that. Alright, so now to predict some useful GPT types that are going to be successful into the future, in my opinion. I think one type will be education. The thing with education is that these types of bots are going to always have a huge market demand because education is always growing and people always need education, right? There's always a demand for this no matter what. I think this could be very innovative in the way that, even if it's kind of old features, the thing with the education industry, it's kind of behind a lot of the time. So even if you just introduce some basic features into the GPT, I think, that I already talked about in this video, I think people will still find it pretty innovative and it could be pretty successful, right? So it must be obviously easily usable and must always kind of answer in a nice format that's like, nice and kind of patient and has the right tone of voice and stuff like that. But I don't think that will really be a problem, as you can just easily put in custom instructions for that. And since it's using GPT as the backend, it'll always answer pretty nicely. Next thing I think is that people are not talking about too much is cybersecurity. I think that, it's a huge growing market, right, with many more security vectors opening up every day with, new software and things like that, new updates. It's always there, always huge demand for it. I think it can be very innovative, as if you use AI to determine cybersecurity risks, you're basically cutting out a lot of human beings and you're cutting out a lot of human review, cost, time, effort that kind of goes into reviewing code that's already written, right, for cybersecurity problems. Also with the new like DevOps cycle and stuff like that, like people want to release code as fast as possible, right? Like write code and release it very very quickly. And being able to use AI to check for cybersecurity vulnerabilities before a human can could be huge in terms of just getting that more secure. Because companies will do that anyways, right? They'll just release unsecure code then. But if you have a way of kind of checking that code preliminarily with an AI, so you can release it as fast as possible while patching security issues, that could be huge and could, potentially solve breaches, helping companies and customers. I think users should ideally for this bot be able to just upload code as a file. It's upload their code base, or just copy and paste code as well into the text box, submit it, and then GPT will, maybe even categorize it into like severe, medium, low risk, and kind of categorize exactly where the issue is, how to fix it, things like that. Then if the user wants to, they can have GPT write the code to fix it as well. Alright guys, so to conclude, GPTs are going to be a huge opportunity into the future. With the GPT store, there's a lot of opportunity to make money, to post new GPTs in there that are very innovative. Honestly, I think in the future GPTs are going to be huge. I think everyone's going to be using them for their businesses. And I think they're even going to go into other sectors like education, like I've been talking about in this video. I think the community is going to have a huge role to play once people can start easily sharing their bots, once we get this new kind of GPTs economy going on the GPT store. Alright guys, make sure to like the video, and in the comments, go ahead and comment down your predictions for what's gonna blow up on the GPT store. If you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe. Also join my Discord down in the description below, where you can talk with me, you can talk with other members of the community. There's actually a lot of people in there now. You can talk anything about AI and basically have good conversations. You can always message me as well, and I'll try to help you if I can. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.